Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So the title of the video is African Countries in the Bible. And then I have referenced a few of them, namely the ones that are based on the son of Put. So there are different interpretations of the land of Put, where it is, who Put was, but the story in Genesis chapter 10 speaks about how Noah had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Japheth was the first Gentile, as it is written in the Bible. And then Shem and Ham, they were sharing certain lands and they were sharing certain customs. But Shem and Ham had children that shared certain of the same names. One of these names is the name of Fur and Havilah. But the name for Gibeon is also recorded in the book of Jasher, the book of the upright, as it is called. And in that book, it speaks of the son called Gibeon. So the word Gibeon is actually the same word that is used for the country called Gabon. So Gabon is the word for Gibeon. So these words were used in different countries. This word was also used in the country of Botswana to name Gaborone, which is a derivative of Gibeon, which is Gabon, which is the son of Put, which is the son of Noah. And that's how the name comes about. Now, there's also a place that is literally named Gibeon in Namibia. So there's a place that is called Gibeon. So let me just see if I can get a picture of it here in my phone. Man. So this place Gibeon, it's a very interesting place. So the places that are mentioned as Gibeon, this is the word where we get the 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 word for Gabiron, and Gabiron actually is also derived from Gab, like the gift of Gab, which is to speak, right? But Gibeon is a place in Namibia. There's an actual place called Gibeon, which is the same word that is used in the Bible. So, namely, the place of Gibeon is of special importance because it is the place where wisdom can be found. All right. So, I guess you can just go and Google Gibeon, Namibia, and then you can see the place. So, that place is also going to be some special interest in another video, right? So, in the book of Chronicles, let's say Chronicles, Second Chronicles, right? Chapter 1. This place of Gibeon is mentioned. So I'm going to read what it says in Second Chronicles from chapter 1, from verse 1. And Solomon, the son of David, was strengthened in his kingdom, and the Lord his God was with him and magnified him exceedingly. Then Solomon spake unto Israel, and to the captains of thousands and hundreds, and to the judges, and to every governor in all Israel, the chief of the fathers. So Solomon and all the congregation with him went to the high place that was at Gibeon. So the word Gibeon actually means high hill. So Solomon and all his congregation with him went to the high place that was at Gibeon. So this is the place where I'm referring to the son of Put, and I'm referring to the place in Namibia called Gibeon, and I'm also referring to as the place we know the country called Gabon, and I'm also referring to the place of Botswana, which has the same name, which is derived from Gibeon. So Gibeon, where shall wisdom be found, right? So they went to the high place at Gibeon, for there was the tabernacle of the congregation of God, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, had made in the wilderness. But the ark of God had David brought up from Kirjath-jearim to the place which David had prepared for it, for he had pitched a tent for it in Jerusalem. Moreover, the brazen altar that Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, had made, he put before the tabernacle of the Lord, and Solomon and the congregation sought unto him. And Solomon went up thither to the brazen altar before the Lord, which was at the tabernacle of the congregation, and offered 1,000 burnt offering upon it. So this is the interesting bit, right? Where shall wisdom be found? In that night did God appear unto Solomon, and said unto him, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto God, Thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me reign in his stead. Now, O Lord God, let thy promise unto God my father be established, for thou hast made me king over a people, thou over a people like the dust on the earth. Give me wisdom and knowledge. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen with you to show you this. So it says, and then he said, Give me wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people that is too great? So what he's asking for is this ability to go in and to come out, to go in and to come out, to go in and to come out. So this is happening while he's in a dream, but he's in Gibeon, right? So this is Second Chronicles chapter 1. So he asks this and God grants it, right? Now we're going to go to, what is it? First Kings. First Kings chapter 3. And Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took, so let me just share my screen with you again. So Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, took Pharaoh's daughter, brought her into the city of David until he had made an end of building his own house, the house of the Lord, the wall of Jerusalem round about it. Only the people sacrificed in high places, because there was no house built in the name of the Lord until these days. Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and burned incense in the high places. The king went to Gibeon. So Gibeon again, this is Gabon, and actual Gibeon in Namibia. So he went to this, and this is the name that is given to this place, where wisdom is to be found. Gibeon, to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. Gibeon means high hill. So 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer unto the altar. So in Gibeon, this place in Gabon, in Gibeon, in Gaberon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said, Thou hast showed unto the servant David my father great mercy, and according you have walked with him in righteousness and an upright of heart, and thou hast kept him with great kindness, and thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is to this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David thy father. I am but a little child. I know not how to go out and to come in. So, so here, this is in Kings. He's asking for this ability to go out and come in. And in Chronicles, he's asking for this ability to go out and to come in. So this ability is the actual request for the actual wisdom that he's asking for. So this is happening in Gibeon. And Gibeon, as I've explained, this is the place of Gabon. This is the place of Gaborone. This is the place of Gibeon in Namibia. These are the same words because these are the people who knew these things and they used these names, right? So now I'm going to go to the place of wisdom, which is in Proverbs chapter 8, right? So let me share my screen with you again. So does wisdom not cry and understanding put forth a voice? So this is the word for Gab, which is Gaberon, which is to put forth your voice, the gift of Gabriel. Gabriel, the angel who always used to come and talk, right? But this is talking about wisdom and the voice or the gab of wisdom, the voice of wisdom, which is found at Gabon, Gibeon, and all of these places. So she stands at the top of the high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She cries at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in of the doors. Unto you, O man, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. All you simple, understand wisdom, you fools, be of an understanding heart. Hear, right? Hear, which is the gab. For I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth, which is the gab, right, speaks truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth, still speaking of Gaberon, Gabon, Gibeon, there is nothing fraud and perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understands, and right to them that find knowledge. So here, I just want us to go over this part. Does not wisdom cry and understanding put forth a voice? She stands at the top of the high places. So now in the verses that we're looking at, we saw that Gibeon is a high place, and that's what it means. By the way, in the places of the paths. Okay, by the way, in the places of the paths. She cries at the gates of the entry of the city, at the coming in of the doors. Unto you, O man, I call, and my voice is the sons of man. So where is wisdom? She is at the gates. Where is wisdom? She is at the doors. Where is wisdom? In the way of the places of the paths. And what is this place? The place where people get in and go out. So, wisdom is saying that she is at a high place. The high place means Gibeon. Gibeon meaning the son of Put, which is the brothers who were like the African brothers, because the other brothers were Mizraim, which is Egypt. The other one was Ethiopia or Cush, which is Ethiopia or Cush, right? And the other one was Put, and the other one was Canaan. And this is the reiteration of the story of Adam, Eve, and Cain. And then we have the story of Ham, his wife, and Canaan. So this is happening at a place called Gibeon. And Gibeon means high place. Now, where can wisdom be found? Wisdom is speaking, it's gabbing, like Gaberon, like Botswana, just speaking. This is what it means, the capital city of Gaberon. This word means Gab. It comes from that. That's where it comes from. So all of the languages were once one language, and that one language was Hebrew. So now this Hebrew language is still used by the Hebrew people, and they use this to name the places with their knowledge of saying this and that, right? So this is why there's Gibeon in Namibia, and this is why the country is called Gabon, because of Gibeon, right? Because it's in the land of Put, because that's where the fathers were. So where is wisdom to be found? Wisdom is saying she's at the high places and she's gabbing. Like, do you not hear? She's just gabbing, Gaberon, Gabon, right? Gabbing. This is the high place. The word Gibeon means high place. So wisdom is at this high place, right? But what is interesting is that when Solomon went to Gibeon, when he had the dream, this is where he asked for wisdom. But when he was asking for wisdom, as I showed in Chronicles and in Kings, he asked for wisdom and he asked for this ability to go in and to come out. And now it says, she cries at the gates at the entry of the city, at the coming in of the doors. Because at the doors or at the gates, this is where you go in and you come out. So this is why wisdom in Solomon's dream, this is why God is listening in this dream. And God is actually pleased with how he's asking for this. But he's asking for the ability to come in, to go out. He's not asking for long life or anything. He's asking for the ability to come in, to go out. And now, wisdom, where is wisdom to be found? At the place, like the paths where people come in and go out, the place like the gates of the city where people come in and they go out, at a place like the doors where people come in and go out. So there's a certain mystery to this, but also it shows that the place of wisdom is so plain. This is why wisdom is saying, unto your man I call. I'm just gabbing, right? My voice is to the sons of man. All you simple, understand wisdom. So Solomon asks for the ability to discern, to understand, at coming in and at going out. And now wisdom is saying, why are you so simple? Why can you not see me? I am at the gates. I am at the doors. Because wisdom is the easiest thing to find. Because wherever any person is, they've gone through a gate or they've gone through a door. And that's the place where wisdom is crying. So wisdom is supposed to be found anywhere easily, but it's not so simple, even though it's that, like, maybe it's not so easy, but it's that simple, because wisdom is saying she's at the doors and at the gates. Solomon is asking for the ability to go in and to come out, to go in and to come out, because that's at the doors and at the gates. So, wisdom has this voice and she's calling out, right? So now I'm going to go into the story of Psalms, into Psalm 19. And now this is going to express the voice that wisdom is speaking with, which is the word for Gabon, Gabiron, and then this is where we get Gibeon. And the way that the A and the E are interchanged is something that is expressed in the Bantu key of knowledge, the Bantu key of knowledge, that video. So the reason why it is like that is because in the Hebrew language, when we say the word for Abba, we use the word ABBA. And Abba is the beginning. This is the word. This is the words creating the world. And Abba's words created everything. This is where we get Abba, which is the abacus, which is also the alpha, beta, AB, Abba, alphabet. All of the words in the alphabet come from Abba. But what is special about this is that when we take the word for Abba and we actually turn them, this is the A and the E again. When we actually turn them, we get the words for Papa, which Abba is father. We get the words for Dada, which is Dada is father in different languages. And this is how all of the different languages are actually one language. So this is how Gibeon with an E is Gabon with an A. But this is explained in the Bantu key of knowledge because it explains the ash tree and how all of the languages were once one language, but Abba is Dada, is father, is Papa. Like it just turns, but it still means the same thing. So this is Gibeon. This is Gabon, right? But now I want to hear the Gab in Gibeon, the Gab in Gaberon, the Gab in the wisdom. Because Solomon is asking for something, which is wisdom. And now wisdom is saying she's always crying out, she's always gabbing. She's always crying out, she's always calling out. And now want to hear the voice of wisdom. And the voice of wisdom is recorded in Psalm 19 by Solomon's father, right? So, Psalm 19, I'm going to share my screen with you, right? So, Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night shows knowledge. So this happened at night in Gibeon, where Solomon, Solo mono, Solo is sun, Sola, mono, moon. So Solomon was speaking to God at night. And it says, day unto day, which is solo, utters speech, and night unto night, which is mono, which is where he got wise in Gibeon, shows knowledge. There is no, and then this is how solo mono becomes the wisest, because he understands this speech, he understands this knowledge, because he's given the wisdom in Gibeon, Gaberon, right? Gabon. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. So this is why wisdom is crying out in every language, in every speech. Their line is gone out through all the earth, their words to the end of the world. In them has he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoices as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, his circuit unto the end of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing in the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and from the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is their servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant from presumptuous sins, and let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Right. So, so I just read Psalm 19 in its entirety, right? So it's talking about the voice of wisdom being the heavens themselves, and the heavens, which is the sun and the moon, has a certain language, and that language in this chapter, it is saying that the line is gone out through all the earth, which is as a bridegroom coming out of the chamber. So it actually now teaches us the certain symbol, because now it's saying that this sun, S-U-N, is now a son, like an S-O-N. So this is also the speech and the words. This is also the knowledge and the understanding, because it's speaking about the sun and the moon in a certain speech, in a certain symbol. So this is how wisdom actually communicates. But all of this is happening at a place called Gibeon. And what is happening is that Solomon, right, himself is asking for the ability to go in and to come out. Just like how the sun goes in every night, goes out every night. This is the wisdom of God, which cannot be altered. And this is the natural world we live in. Through this wisdom, people have tried to like use this wisdom in terms of other ways that was not the ways that was given by God, because there's a certain power that comes with this knowledge, and this knowledge have, like, a lot of people have tried to manipulate it, but God has actually put the circuits, he's put it all in motion. Whatever stars, whatever things that people would want to worship, this was created by God. And even up to today, a lot of people like don't know the language of each day, don't know the language of each season. Nothing is new under the sun, right? But we all know that every season comes, like, that's predictable. But even though at the same time we're not supposed to be able to predict anything, because we know in part, we prophesy in part. And now it also goes on to speak about presumptuous sins and ask the question, who can understand his own errors? And this is where I'll like wrap it up in the sense of, where shall wisdom be found? The wisdom of Solomon is him asking for God at night, and in an actual dream. He's asking for wisdom, and then he hears this voice, and then he's actually able to receive this wisdom in a world that does not appear in our eyes. This is how faith works as the substance of things unseen, because he's in this world where we all go to, we all have dreams, but he was able to benefit wisdom in that dream, right? But sometimes we've had dreams that are great, and then you wake up and your life doesn't change. But in the case of Solomon, his life changed immediately, such that when he got up, there were two harlots who came to see him. And then he was able to use that power that he had gotten that night to create a judgment, to discern. And this is how he was now showing this power that he had gotten. He had received from God, he had received this knowledge. But now he asks the question, who can understand his own errors? So through the judgment of Solomon, we get the impression that he used a certain psychological or emotional ploy to get to understand what was happening in the heart of the different women. So he asks, who can understand his own errors? So in this wisdom that we get, it is this ability to understand our own errors, to discern and to understand in our going in our coming out. Like, what is the reason for all of your movement? The word movement is motion. The word motion is action, right? Motion, to move. So, who can understand their own faults? Who can understand their own hearts? What is the motion or the emotion in your heart? When Solomon woke up from in Gibeon, Gabon, right? He was able to speak, he was able to hear what was in the hearts through understanding the emotion. Who can understand their own faults, right? It is through the meditation of the heart that we get to understand this. So Solomon was able to use this emotional, basic understanding that he had gotten in the dream. He had gotten a dream about in a spiritual realm, and he wakes up in a physical realm, and then he's now using what he has gotten from the spiritual in the physical. But what he's using in the physical is still spiritual, because now he's discerning the faults in the person's heart through understanding the emotions that the women showed. One of the women is like, yes, slice the kid, I don't care. And then he's like, no, that's the wrong emotion. The other woman is like, ah, no, don't. Or fine, she can keep the woman. And then he's like, all right, that is the right emotion, right? So who can understand their own faults? The faults of the heart. So this is to know your own errors. Cleanse me from secret faults. This is the voice of wisdom. And this is how wisdom is gabbing in Gibeon, in Gabon. Who can understand all of these faults in the world? Right? This is understanding, this is knowledge. But what is continuously speaking is the voice of God. Day unto day, night unto night. It is just speaking in a speech that is heard throughout all of the earth. No matter what language we speak, if the sun is shining, we know it's the morning. If the moon is out, sometimes it is nighttime. Because I've noticed that the moon comes out in the afternoon too. But whatever the situation is, the faults of the heart, this is where wisdom is to be found. So the prayer is, who can understand his errors, cleanse me from secret faults. So just open your heart out to the secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Presumptuous sins, whatever we just pre-sum up. So the biggest error that we have is our biggest strength, which is the mind is a presumptuous tool. That's how it works. And that's how it's kept us alive. That's how it keeps us reflexive. But it's through this reflexive action that we have some of the bad reflexes. So the mental reflexes, the emotional ones, are sometimes presumptuous. Presumptuous meaning it's something that is pre-summed up. Like we've already made the decision, we've already made the judgment. But what Solomon asked for was the ability to actually make the right judgment all the time, to make the right judgment all the time without presumption, without presuming, without prejudging, without being prejudiced. So this is how he was able to like use this to discern with the two harlots, to discern like, oh, okay, that's the right emotion, that's the wrong emotion. But the other woman had a presumption that he will never know what's in my heart. So these are presumptions. So cleanse me from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Wisdom is wisdominion. So this is the wit dominion. The wit is like the quickness of the mind. Quick wit dominion. And this quick wit is how he was able to discern. So let this quick wit is also how the mind makes a reflex action and presumes. It's a quick wit, but it's now the wisdom of the world. But we want the quick wit that comes with the wisdom of from above, like the quicker it comes, so that we do not make a presumption and make a reflex action, but then we make the quickest decision in the moment with the best outcome all the time. And this is how he was able to do that. But in order to do that, you have to cleanse your heart from the faults, and you have to get rid of prejudice or any presumptions. And then this makes your wit quicker. And then this is the dominion. This is the wit dominion, the wisdom. And through this, you'll be able to do anything, because the power of that is such that you can figure out anything, like the movie Limitless. So don't have dominion over me, right? The presumptions. Then I shall be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. So the great transgression is that we do not know who we are. That's why Gabiron is always gabbing. That's why Gibeon is Namibia, we don't know. That's why Gabon is always there. This is the great transgression. But who can understand these faults that are written? But there's a certain voice that is speaking the truth all the time in every language. It's even in every symbol. This is why the sun is now being called the bridegroom in Psalm 19. It's now calling this like object in the sky the man, like who is running this great race, a human, right? Running a race. This is how we understand this. So this is the place or the domain of wit. So using this, we're trying to escape the great transgression, which is we need to see clearly. We need to hear clearly. So this is why we want a clean heart, right? And this is why our judgments have to be quick. We have to have the wit that is quicker without having like the quick wit that comes with what you call it, a neural link or something like that, right? We don't want that quickness of wit, but we want the natural quick wit, which is what is given to us when we listen to wisdom. Because why would I get like a computer in my brain if I can't actually hear wisdom when wisdom is speaking? If I can't hear those words that are being spoken in every language, right? So before I do that, I first need to master wisdom in its pure essence, which is speaking of the heavens declare the glory of God day and night. Solo mono, solo, sun, mono, moon. This is the heavens. This is why Solomon, solo mono, was so wise. He was able to discern the solar, solo, and they were able to discern the mono, the moon. So we're supposed to escape the great transgression, which is to know the greatness of God through his own like reflection, right? And not our own reflection, to reflect what we say is our greatness. So let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. So the words, Gab, and the emotions in the heart, which is going in and going out, the motion, the action, that is going to be in the sight. So that's going to be visible. Your words will be seen, right? So one day we shall know about Gabon. One day we shall know about Gibeon. One day we shall know about Gabiron, right? But this is going to come through the words, the Gab, and this is also going to come through the actions, the emotions. And through these emotions, we'll understand our faults. We'll get rid of presumptions, right? Let the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. So I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I'm going to end here with the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. And I'll just end and add something that it is also about how we meditate in our heart. And God hears this meditation. The word heart, Heart. And then we spell ear when we spell heart. And that's in the middle of the heart. So God hears, like when you remove the T in heart, you actually have hear. When you remove the H after the T, then you have ear. And then when you actually take the H, put it at the end, you have earth. So this is why the heavens are declaring everything on earth. They hear it. But this comes from the heart or the emotions. So the emotions is the motion to go out and to go in. And this is what Solomon asked for at Gibeon, at Gabiron, at Gabon in Namibia. He asked for this ability of the heart. This is how he was able to discern when he woke up. This happened at night, which is mono, and solo in the morning. He was able to discern the hearts of the women. And this ability is the meditation of the heart. So the heart is the ear is the earth, and the earth is always speaking, and everyone can hear it. According to David, according to the inspiration he's given by God, he says, the heavens declare the glory of God. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. No speech or language where their voice is not heard. This is the language of the heart. This is the language of the earth. And if we lived in another place, we would use another language. But since we're on earth, this is the language we use. I know there's some people who want to leave earth so that they can not use the heart. But because the heart of anyone, like okay, it is a whole other topic. But the words of the mouth, the meditation of the heart is acceptable in God's sight. So let us now see God's sight, because we want to be acceptable in his sight. So seeing his sight means that we're going to hear God's words, and we're also going to hear God's emotions, his emotions. This is the Holy Spirit, God's emotions. Like, who can understand what God was thinking? Who can understand what God was doing? It is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is wisdom. So Jesus is the embodiment of the Holy Spirit. We can listen to Jesus to understand God's feelings and emotions. We can listen to Jesus and see his pain, his suffering. The life of Jesus, his death was so emotional, right? But it's because we're now seeing God's emotions. We're hearing his emotions. And as a human being, he was also a man with emotions, as it is written in Hebrews. Melchizedek had emotions, right? Abraham had emotions. So now these are the emotions that we're asking for cleansing, and we're asking for removing of secret faults. But these emotions are within the dominion of wit. And as long as we keep on hearing the voice of the heart, the voice of the earth, like what we listen to on earth, what we do on earth, what we do to the earth. Like sixth on the sixth day, this is when we are created. On the sixth day, this is when the animals are created. But how have we treated those animals on earth? There's a documentary on Netflix. I think it's called Earth, if I'm not mistaken. But it's an amazing documentary, and it's a very emotional documentary because it made me realize what we're doing to Earth. It's very sad. It was actually so sad and scary that like I was thinking like if these animals could talk because you could feel their emotions, right? But then us as humans, what are we doing with our great emotions? Is it the emotion of pride or is it the emotion of humility that we lean toward, right? So let the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. And in that, I'll just close with that. Like the gift of Gab is that in Gabiron, in Gabon, in Gibeon. So we will keep on speaking using this gift of Gab. And more so, we'll keep on listening because this gift of Gab is also speaking in the form of wisdom. So, to open the heart is to open the ear in the middle of the heart.